Welcome to the Academy of Esports podcast. I'm your host, James O'Hagan, and today I've got 4 things for you to try out that makes your esports experience in your high school more than just the games. It is September, and for me in the city of Racine and the Racine Unified School District, we have 5 high school esports teams launching this year. We already had 4 in the past year, and we're adding our 5th this season. So in the fall, we are going to be participating in the Wisconsin High School Esports Association. We are also an affiliate of the North American Scholastic Esports Federation, also known as NASEF. And we've got a number of things that we are trying this year to make esports more than just the games. And I'm going to reveal to you what those things are in this episode. So why don't we jump right in and start with what our first thing is going to be. And this one was really important for us to get started with right away. Our competitions are going to be starting here. This week is scrim practice. So if you're listening to this in real time or you keep up with the show, this is the week of September 16th. And next week, the week of September 23rd, is when we actually start our official season with with Smash Brothers and Overwatch. And so one of the first things we needed to get done very quickly, because our season does start so early, is I wanted to make sure that we got our Scholar gamers in the Racine Unified School District jerseys. Jerseys are an awesome way for kids to really take advantage of the intrinsic motivations around esports and gaming that they have. And one of the ways you can take advantage of those intrinsic motivations is to actually have your students help in the design of your esports jerseys. This year, we actually have, with our 5 teams, I have made it a point as the esports czar of the Racine Unified School District to ask that our general managers do include or have the students lead the efforts to design esports jerseys. We know there's about a 3-week time around all this, but one of the things I'm really trying to think about, not just with the high school jerseys, but I've also been approached by a number of my students in our Discord server. We do have now an RUSD esports Discord server, and I've been approached by many of them in that space asking about having an all-star team. Can we have a citywide team, a team of the best from all 5 of the local high schools? I don't have a problem with doing that, and one of the ways that I think would help bring that all together as well, and again, because our school district is a larger school district, one of the bigger ones in the state of Wisconsin, I want to have a Racine Unified School District jersey as well too. Now, where I'm going to come up from that money, I don't know yet. I do have a local sponsor who did approach me last week about wanting to help out with esports, and I'm always looking for local sponsorship to help out with programming or opportunities for our kids to participate in tournaments, to travel, and to get cool things like jerseys. So I will be putting together a design team of students to help come up with a conceptual idea or a design for the Racine Unified jersey. And I don't want to just exclude that necessarily maybe to my best gamers. I may make it open to everybody. Or again, we might just make it where it is only for those who make the all-city team who want to participate. So that's one way you can go beyond the games and start to bring in other things in the ecosystem around esports. The second thing that I know I have promoted a lot on this podcast, I brought on people like Jake Middleton in the very beginning, Dan Himmelstein also in the very beginning, to talk about nutrition, health, exercise in this space. And I've always promoted the idea of a workout program. And if you don't have a workout program for your esports team, listen first to what I might have to say before you develop a really long-range plan. You have to understand that for a lot of these kids, they've been put off in a lot of ways by participating in traditional athletic culture. And in some cases, weightlifting and exercise can be seen as part of that culture. They may have had a traumatic experience with PE. It does happen. So as you start to introduce into your esports programs, to your Scholar Gamers, the workout program, you might want to take a very mild approach getting kids involved, or doing things in ways that don't necessarily spell it out as a, hey, we're going to get you from point A to point B. I know I talk about the growth mindset ideals around things a lot, but there's kids who find exercise to be very off-putting. And the reason why they have gone to gaming and gaming culture is because, again, traditional athletics does not resonate with them. So as you start to bring your Scholar Gamers into the ideas of, hey, we need to exercise, we need to move, we need to have proper nutrition, we need to sleep, you might want to take some mild approaches. You can use, though, as I said, I would love to see growth mindset ideas used throughout this, but we don't necessarily want it to be, hey, we're starting today with being able to lift nothing, and when I want at the end of 6 weeks is for you to lift 400 pounds. That's a bit extreme. But it might be something as simple as, I want to take 20 minutes out of 3 days a week out of our schedule for us to have some meditation time. Or you might want to say, hey, instead of us just getting to the gaming lounge or getting started with our practice, we're going to go on a half-mile walk around the school campus or some other location where you might be, just to kind of get the blood flowing. You might find on the walk that conversations start to begin. Kids start to socialize a little more, and that starts to pump up the communication skills of kids right before you get into gameplay. So as you take this approach in bringing exercise and movement and health into your esports programs, again, with some of your kids, you might need to take a very mild approach, and that's okay. Gauge the room, figure out what kids you have in the space as you start to build your culture, and decide what you want that eventually to be. But again, be prepared to potentially take baby steps, or even in some cases face resistance around exercise, and be sure to talk to your Scholar Gamers and invite them into the conversation of why this is important and how it's going to help them be a better gamer later on. The third way that you can start to go beyond the games and really start to include more kids into esports is a bit of a radical approach. It really is a major step for some communities. This is a very political decision that might rub some people the wrong way. But again, knowing that we want to bring in kids, as many kids as we can, into this tent and give them a whole variety of different opportunities to participate in gaming and gaming culture, one of the ways that we in the Racine Unified School District are broadening the tent to allow more kids in is, even if a child is part of a parochial school, meaning a Catholic school or a Lutheran school, something of that regards, or a private school, or are even a homeschooled student, we are actually going to allow those kids to come in and play. I have actually reached out to our private parochial schools. I have reached out to some of our homeschool students with which I work in the virtual learning program to say, hey, this is not just a Racine Unified School District program. This is also a Racine program, and I would love to have as many Racine kids as part of this program as possible. Those kids in the Racine Unified School District boundaries, that is. So that includes, like in my case, the cities of Caledonia, Mount Pleasant, and Sturtevant, which also make up the Racine Unified School District. For us in the Racine Unified School District, the reason to do this is multifold, but one of the big reasons is, or one of our goals, I should say, is to become the choice school district of Southeast Wisconsin. And the only way that we are going to become a choice school district, or one of the ways I should say we're going to become a choice school district in Southeast Wisconsin, is to invite people into our spaces in ways that go beyond academics, allow them to be part of our teams, allow them to be part of our programming. And in a lot of cases, we do that. We do allow kids from outside of our traditional schools to be part of our school programming. So esports is just another way that we are trying to open up our school district to the outer districts and people in the community to say, hey, this is a space where everybody is welcome. You don't just have to be an RUSD student. Come be part of this. Come be in this place where you can play and meet other kids in the community who you wish to share your love and your passion for gaming. And the fourth way this year that we're looking to go beyond the games and take our teams to the next level is we've actually partnered with the press. So in the case of Racine, we have an online newspaper called the Racine County Eye, and one of their journalists reached out to me because he wanted to learn more about our esports program. And when I explained to this journalist about our esports program, he was very intrigued, very fascinated, and he said very quickly he would like to do more stories about our esports programming and teams. And I posed to him the idea of, instead of just doing some stories about some of our programming, instead, wouldn't it be cool to instead report our Overwatch varsity matches in the fall here, and as a kind of a trial basis, to report those as you would report a football score or in the high school, or a baseball score or basketball score or swimming or whatever. Any of the traditional sports that we have, we would want to report the results the same way. The reporter's response was, I would love to do that, but I don't really know the stories. I don't really know the games. I don't really know how to report what is important other than a score and the final result. So what I've gone ahead and done with the help of our general managers is I've created a press secretary position. This person or persons in each high school I hope will have at least one, who will then help the newspaper reporter to report on the events. So rather than just the scores getting posted, these scholar gamers are actually going to now help the reporter tell the story of what's going on in our esports events. Again, they speak the language. They can tell you exactly what happened in the match, what was important, what the score was. And now what I have kids involved with is when we talk about building brands and what we talk about college and career readiness, we have kids now who are going to have public bylines where they have actually helped a reporter craft a news story. I feel that this is going to be one of the major feathers in our cap, I guess you could say, because I don't know of other high schools yet who are getting their scores reported in the local press on a level playing field with other sporting events. But again, this is just taking advantage of the opportunities that we have when we have these kids who are intrinsically motivated to be part of esports, taking advantage of these opportunities we have to expand and go beyond the games and really bring in the full ecosystem of esports.
That will do it for this week on the Academy of Esports. I've been your host, James O'Hagan. Esports are organized competitive video games allowing schools to redefine their athletic culture, diversify opportunities for student participation, promote good physical and mental health, increase collegiate scholarship pathways, and play games. We can never forget the importance of play. The mission of the Academy of Esports is to support these ideals. The vision of the Academy of Esports is for all students to experience the fun and joy of playing competitive video games. You may follow me on Twitter at Jim O'Hagan. That's at JIMOHAGAN, and through the Academy of Esports account at TAO Esports. It's a great way to get the latest blog posts, podcast episodes, and news coming out of esports and education. And remember, you can continue your engagement by going to www.taoesports.com. You can also connect through Facebook at www.facebook.com/TAOesports. Thanks again for listening, and I look forward to our time again next week.